Welcome to the speaking portions of the IELTS exam. My name is Aaron. I will be your examiner for this part of the test. May I see your identification, please?
Sure.
Thank you. What is your full name?
My full name is Paulo Sousa, but you can call me Paulo.
Okay, Paulo, I'm going to put your passport here and I will give it back to you at the end of the speaking. Also, I'm going to record this for making process.
Sure.
This has 3 parts. I will give you instructions for each part. For part 1, I would like to get to know you a little bit better and ask you some questions on original topics. Are you ready to begin?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, what do you like to do in your leisure time?
In my leisure time, I like to take long language nature with my wife. Yesterday, for example, we had a very nice hike in the Tijuca National Park.
Okay, let's talk about the home. Do you currently live in a house or apartment?
I live in an apartment in downtown Rio. The apartment has a bedroom, a living room, a kitchen, and an office.
What do you like about it?
Well, I really like that it's not east facing and it has big windows, so there is a lot of natural light. And also because it's on the 15th floor, it has a great view and I can see the ocean, which made me very relaxed.
Which is your favorite room and why?
Uh, well, my favorite room I would say is the living room because there is my couch where I like to sit and relax after a hard day at work. And also because there we have a big TV and my wife and we really like to watch movie together. Yesterday, for example, we watched a very nice comedy and we had a couple of good laughs.
How can you improve your home?
Well, that is an interesting question. I didn't think about it much because it's quite modern, but I believe that perhaps some nice artwork like painting or sculptures can really help to improve the flat.
If you could have just one price of furniture, what would it be?
Well, I think that an easy question. Definitely, it would be my couch. As I said before, it's my favorite place to sit and relax after a hard day. But also, if I'm very tired, it's also quite comfortable for taking a nap.
Okay, that is the end of part 1. Now for part 2. Here is card. Please don't turn it over. And here is some note, paper, and a pencil. The card has some questions. You will have 1 minute to read them, prepare your answer, and you all may take notes if you wish. When you will have 2 minutes to speak, I will tell you when you start and when you to stop. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead. Turn over the card. Your 1 minute begin now. Okay, voila, your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking.
Alright, sir. So, Brazil is an agricultural center of the world. Therefore, there are several plants which are very important to its economy, such as nuts, soybean, and sugarcane. However, the most iconic plant, I must say, is coffee. coffees go on small tree, 3 to 4 meters tall, with white flowers when in bloom and green, yellow, and red. When on the plant, most people associate coffee with bar beans, but this is only after roasting. There are 3 main regions for coffee production in the country, and those are Montana, Somanas, and Colorado. Along the Atlantic coast, the climate and moisture of this area make them ideal for growing coffee, since they are situated in so-called coffee belt of the world. Brazil produces approximately 1/3 of all coffee consumed in the world, and its production provides jobs for tens of thousands of people in the country. Brazilians not only grow coffee but also love drinking it, and there is often fierce competition the state for who make the best brew. Although there is some controversy as the coffee production is often related to slum level. I'm quite sure that coffee will remain a very important plant for Brazilians for years to come.
Okay, your 2 minutes is up. So I will stop you here. Please pass back the note paper, the card, and the pencil. Thank you. And now you will continue with part 3. For part 3, I'm going to ask you some more questions related to the topics of part 2. Let's talk about plants and trees. Do you think it is important to keep plants around the house? Why or why not?
Well, I think it's very important to have plants in the house because every house feels familiar and fresher when there are plants around. For example, I have a couple of Chinese evergreens, and whenever I look at them, I feel better.
What can people do to reduce the amount of tree products like paper in their daily lives?
Well, I think one good way to approach this is with technology. And by this, I mean going digital. So if people and organizations will switch from traditional paper-based activity toward digitals. So for example, bank statements, invoice, and mail, I think this would help to reduce using paper.
Why it is important to have green space like parks and trees in the big cities?
First of all, trees they are very important for people health and mood, and I think that having park and tree in the city are good. Also for providing shade and to regulate temperature in hot cities.
Let's talk about recycling. Do you think it is many the roles of governments and individuals of make sure people recycle? Why?
That is a very good question. I would definitely say it both. So government should provide the infrastructure such as the container to segregate the data, the tap to collect it, and the plant to process it. But no government effort will go anywhere if people don't pay attention and separate the data properly. I know that in Brazil there are some law about recycling, but unfortunately there is lack of attention from both government and people.
What may happen in future with societies if people put all their waste into the garbage and do not recycle?
Well, I think if people would carelessly just throw their rubbish away, this might cause some damage for natural environment. And once nature is damaged, it is also impacting us, human beings as a species, and several consequence might be faced by others, including extinction.
How has recycling changed the way individuals do their daily shopping? What else can be done in the future?
Well, I think recycling as a culture has definitely influenced the way we live. Specifically, for shopping, I can remember that only a couple of decades ago, most people use plastic bags for doing their grocery shopping. Nowadays, you can see people using reusable bags made out of textile or other materials. And for example, myself, I always use a backpack when I go to do my grocery shopping.
Okay, that is the end of part 3, and that concludes the speaking portion of the IELTS exam. Here is your passport bag, please. Take that with you.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Welcome to the speaking portion of the IELTS exam. My name is Alien. I will be your examiner of this part of the test. May I see your identification, please?
Sure.
Thank you. What's your full name?
My full name is Paula Souza, but you can call me Paula.
Okay, Paula. I'm going to put your passport here and I will give it back to you at the end of the speaking. Also, I'm going to record this for marking purposes.
Sure.
This has 3 parts. I will give you instruction for each part. For part 1, I would like to get to know you a little bit better and ask you some questions on a general topic. Are you ready to begin?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what do you like to do in your leisure time?
In my leisure time, I like to take a long hike in nature with my wife. Yesterday, for example, we had a very nice hike in the Tiktika Natural Park.
Okay, let's talk about the home. Do you currently live in a house or apartment?
I live in an apartment in downtown Leo. The apartment has bedrooms, a living room, a kitchen, and an office.
What do you like about it?
Well, I really like that it's not east facing and it has big window, so there is a lot of natural light, and also because it's on the 15th floor. It has a great view and I can see the ocean, which make me really relax.
Which is your favorite room and why?
Well, my favorite room I would say is the living room because that is my couch where I like to sit and relax after the hard day at work, and also because they have a big TV and my wife and I really like to watch movie together. Yesterday, for example, we watched a really nice comedy and we had a couple of good laughs.
How can you improve your home?
Well, it's interesting question. I didn't think it much because it's quite modern, but I really like perhaps some nice artwork like painting or sculpture can really help to improve the flat.
If you could have just one piece of furniture, what would it be?
Well, I think that is an easy question. Definitely, it would be my couch, as I said before. It's my favorite place to sit and relax after the hard work. But also, if I'm really tired, it's also quite comfortable for taking a nap.
Okay, that is the end of part 1. Now for part 2. Here is a card. Please don't turn it over. And here is some note, paper and pencil. The card has some questions. You will have 1 minute to read them. Prepare your answer and you will take notes if you wish. Then you will have 2 minutes to speak. I will tell you when to start and when to stop. Are you ready?
Alright.
Okay, go ahead. Turn over the card. Your 1 minute begin now. Okay, Paulo. Your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking.
Alright, sir. So, Brazil is an agriculture center of the world. Therefore, there are several plants which are really important to each economy, such as nuts, soybeans, and sugarcane. However, the most iconic plant I must say is coffee. Coffee grows on small trees, 3 to 4 meters tall with white flowers when it's bloomed and green, yellow, and red veins. When on the plant, most people associate coffee with brown brains, but this is only after roasting. There are two main regions for coffee production in the country, and these are China, Minas, and Colorado along the Atlantic coast. The climate and moisture of these areas make them ideal for growing coffee since they are situated in the so-called coffee belts of the world. Brazil products approximately 1/3 of all coffee consumed in the world, and it is productions provides job for tens of thousands of people in the countries. Brazilians not only grow the coffee but also love drinking it, and there is often fierce competitions. The stage for who makes the best beer, although there is some controversy as the coffee production is often related to slave labor. I'm quite sure that coffee will remain a very important plant for Brazilians for years to come.
Okay, your 2 minutes is up. I will stop you there. Please pay back the newspaper, the card, and the pencil. Thank you. And now we will continue with part 3. For part 3, I'm going to ask you some more questions related to the topic of the part 2. Let's talk about plants and trees. Do you think it is important to keep plants around the house? Why or why not?
Well, I think it's really important to have plants in the house because every house feels friendlier and fresher when there are plants around. For example, I have a couple of Chinese evergreens, and whenever I look at them, I feel better.
What can people do to reduce the amount of tea products like paper in their daily life?
Well, I think one good way to approach this is with technology, and by this, I mean going digital. So if people and organizations would switch from traditional paper-based activities towards digital. So, for example, bank statements, invoice, and mail. I think this would help to reduce on using paper.
Why is it important to have green space like parks and trees in big cities?
Well, first of all, trees they are very important for people health and mood. And I think that having parks and trees in the cities are good for also providing shade and to regulate temperature.
Let's talk about recycling. Do you think it is mainly the role of governments or individuals to make sure people recycle? Why?
That's a very good question. I would definitely say it's both. So government should provide the infrastructure such as the containers to separate the garbage, the trucks to collect it, and the plants to process it. But no government effort will go anyway if people don't pay attention and separate their garbage properly. I know that in Brazil there are some laws about recycling, but unfortunately there is lack of attention from both government and people.
What may happen in future societies if people push all their waste into the garbage and do not recycle?
Well, I think if people would carelessly just throw their rubbish away, this might cause some damage for our natural environment. And once nature is damaged, it is also impacting us, human beings as a species, and several consequences might be forced by our lives.
How has recycling changed the way individuals do their daily shopping? What else can be done in the future?
Well, I think recycling as a culture has definitely influenced the way we live. Specifically for shopping, I can remember that a couple of decades ago, most people use plastic bags for doing their progressive shopping. Nowadays, you can see people using reusable bags made out of textiles or other materials. And for example, myself, I always use a backpack when I'm going to do my grocery shopping.
Okay, that is the end of part 3. And let's conclude the speaking portion of the IELTS exam. Here is your passport bag. Please take that with you.
Thank you.
Have a